Okay, so we have a 3-view drawing. We're gonna do isometric 1, which will happen right here. We've got front view, top view, right side view. We're gonna have to put the pieces together here to figure out how to make this an isometric. The last video showed you to start with a Y, and we have 120 degrees on all the angles going around there. I'm actually gonna kind of do an upside down Y, and I'm gonna extend this line straight up like this, okay? And then that's gonna be at the bottom corner of my shape. I'm gonna start with the front view, and I'm gonna estimate how far this comes back, okay? And so whatever number you pick is fine. So if I come back, let's say that far, and that's the end of that, then that's what I'm gonna stick with. I'm gonna try to keep it proportionate and to scale. The other thing to keep in mind is, and this is not a perfectly straight line, this is harder in Chrome Canvas than it is on here, but whenever you draw a line, if they're parallel to each other in here, so you can see how the left side of the front is parallel to the right side of the front, they need to be parallel on your isometric as well. So you can see that this line represents the right side right here, okay? And so when I draw the left side of the front view, that also has to be parallel. So this can't go like that all of a sudden, or like that all of a sudden. It's actually got to go straight up and down. So that needs to be parallel to that. That's one of the big things that a kid might do where they don't realize how they made a mistake, is that you got to think about what's parallel and what remains parallel. So then we're going to establish part of the height. And so if we make this the height right there, we got to think about this is the bottom line of the front. The bottom line of the front, when I do the top, this is also going to become parallel. So this is going to come like this, and it's parallel to the line here. But we know something. We know that it doesn't go all the way over, okay? So we're going to come partially over, and then it comes down. Remember what it's parallel to. This is parallel to the left. So this needs to be parallel to the left. And then that allows us to make the part here parallel. So you can see we've made this L. We've made this L. And what's important then is that we have parallel lines. Parallel, parallel. Just take that out of there. We have parallel, parallel, okay? Then look, you can move over to the right. We're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna draw this over. Let's get the length of this. It's not nearly as long. So we can come up and down like this. Again, that's parallel to that. Take this out. And then we're gonna do our little backward L right here again. So we're gonna make these parallel. Okay, like that. And you can see that that matches this, and this matches this, but I've actually taken out the chunk already. I'm starting to remove this part right here that's not supposed to be there. This could be highly confusing depending on how your mind breaks these down. Then we're gonna look at the top. Remember, we've got parallel lines. We can see that it's a rectangle. So we actually could complete a rectangle. We gotta think about what's parallel. If this is parallel to this and this, then this is also parallel to that. So we could put a little sketch line in there. And then this is going back like this. So this is gonna come back. This is gonna come back. Okay, these are gonna be parallel. Okay, and then we can clean up extra lines. This Chrome Canvas is really good for this. We can take a lot of these out. It's okay if it's sketched. And then we gotta think there's a box inside of here. So we're dealing with parallel lines again. We have verticals, verticals, verticals. And then everything that goes back on this front view is gonna come in this direction. And it's gonna go like that, okay? So then we start to look at, does that match what we have on our 3-view drawing? And it does. And so then you could shade it in, you could shade this in a color and shade it in the correct color. But that's an isometric, it follows those rules. You could start with that Y, and we have 120 degrees on all 3 of those. And then you work with parallel lines, unless you have weird angles, okay? So give that a try, and then submit that on Canvas.